one of my business partners, Kevin, and I, we were walking a house in Marine Street in La Jolla.
Oh my God, yeah.
An amazing piece of property.
Yeah. 2
houses. We get to the front one, and I mean, there's probably 10 tweakers in this thing. And they're yelling at us, and they're like tinkering on who knows what. And it was just traumatic. Like, people were yelling and doing all kinds of stuff. They were mad, and it's like, dude, aren't you the seller? And then all of a sudden, this guy just pops his head out of the roof. Like out of the, like he's living in the attic, and then he starts screaming at us.
He just he monkey hangs down, like all of a sudden his head comes out, and you're like,
yeah, but we're outside, so it was like the side vent or like dormer or something.
Yeah, it just like pops open, and he's like, hey, you're like, oh my God, like there's literally people in like every crevice of this house.
Well, I'm pretty sure he had an ocean view from up there too.
I mean, shit. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm Stephanie Zalowski. And today, I would like to welcome back Matt Tovey.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Matt is going to actually be our co-host today. Cam is gone, so Matt stepped in. Are you so glad to be here?
I'm very happy to be here. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And he's actually joined, everybody can see on YouTube, by Marcel Bonee. Did
Hello.
I get that right?
Yep.
I did get it right. Okay. So many of you will remember Matt Tovey from season 1, episode 2, Stakeouts and Taco Bell, which, by the way, Taco Bell is still not sponsoring us. Like, I'm a little sad about it. And if you haven't listened to that episode, please go listen. We'll see if Matt has any updates for us. And Marcel is a real estate investor. He is the owner of Dwell West. Did I get that right?
Yep.
I stalked you on Instagram. And when I called Matt to ask if he would come back on the show, he so kindly obliged. But then he said, we need my buddy Marcel too. And I was like, let's go. So Marcel, we're excited to see what stories you have, and welcome to Behind the Lockbox.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. Okay. When you walked in, we were kind of chatting, and I said, yesterday, first you guys were talking something about a wet t-shirt contest. I don't know what the hell the two of you were talking about.
Marcel, I think, challenged me to one.
Yeah, well, Matt and I like to we go off on these weird riffs. And
Do
I guess
wet t-shirt contests together?
So
I was in the group chat.
You got to witness
I was in the group chat. Yes. But more importantly, I know because you do investing, you've got stories, because Matt was like, we have to have Marcel. Like, first person, you were the one that popped into his head.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, he just loves you so much.
I thought that was about the wet t-shirt contest. First person I want there is Marcel.
Well,
yeah, obviously.
I can tell you one reason why I love Marcel is because he has a daughter named Rumi, and Rumi and one of my twins, depending on what month, it loves Rumi. And at least one of them will probably end up marrying her.
So does it differ between each twin? Like 1 month Steven likes one, 1 month?
Steven and Rumi.
Got it.
A lot of Steven.
A lot of Steven. Mm-hmm. And then William is really into our friend Kinsley, our friend Kevin's daughter, who's actually his business partner. So I just wanted to say, I guess, publicly, Marcel, thanks for paying for the wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically you guys are going to be family eventually is what you're telling me.
Oh, yeah.
Can I come to the wedding?
It's like an arranged marriage.
It's the sweetest little thing, the way they play together.
They're so cute.
The two twins in her.
It is pretty cute.
Wait, does he know Cam?
Do you know Cameron?
Barbier?
Don't think
Cameron
so.
Smith?
I don't think
No.
so.
Did the boys, did all the kids go to the same school or no? Is Cam's?
No, Rumi goes to a different school.
She goes to a different school, but we live in the same neighborhood.
Okay.
Matt and I.
Maybe Cam, I don't know. Cam, if you know Marcel, then tell us.
So that's my ongoing joke, is that they have to pay for the weddings.
I mean, isn't that how that goes?
Yeah. Well,
Do you only have one daughter?
One daughter,
One
son.
daughter.
Yeah.
One daughter, one son. Okay. How old are they?
They're 5 and 2.
5 and 2.
And they're like at the cutest stage ever together right now.
That's so fun.
Yeah, they're so sweet to each other.
I love that.
Which I wasn't really expecting to happen, and then it did. So I thought,
because your daughter's
Rumi
the
would
oldest,
definitely,
right?
boss them around, but they're actually pretty
I have
sweet.
a younger brother. You at that age, like you really, it's like a doll. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I took my brother, carted him everywhere. You know what I mean? We're 5 years apart, so not just 3.
Girls are so much better with younger kids than boys are.
Yeah,
I feel like boys are like,
Yeah.
why can't I just like
knock them down?
Play with
Yeah.
me and kick them
This thing is broken. Return it. Like, yeah. No, I loved being an older sister. It was super fun. So, and now my niece is the first one, so she'll have hopefully a little brother someday too. Well, we'll see. Todd says there's no more kids happening. So, can you talk to him about that?
We're actively working on my sister too. Funny enough.
So see, I mean,
Wait,
you have 2.
Do you have kids?
I don't. I'm not going to.
No.
That ship has sailed.
I've been pretty
I'm too old.
unsuccessful with getting my sister, so I don't know if I can. I've been her husband Monty.
Yeah.
We love dearly. Definitely wants another kid, and she's like,
See, on that note, okay, where do you want to start? I know you've got some stories. So you just hit us with the first one.
Yeah, so I was trying to recall because there's just so many stories you come home with, right? Or you talk
And then
about
do you
friends
also kind
and-
of have like, do you black out sometimes? Like, do you have like deal amnesia or like something's a little traumatic and then you just like move on from it and kind of forget?
I would love to have that, but no, usually it kind of
It sticks with you.
it lingers.
So
and
you're in
adds to my
therapy
trauma,
basically is
though.
what, yeah. Okay, great. Well, this is therapy. So we're checking in. Welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
Start wherever you want.
Yeah, so my background was in foreclosures. That's how I got into real estate. I was an asset manager for REOs, so REOs, real estate owned, bank foreclosures.
I worked for
And-
Countrywide during that time, so
Oh, nice. That was one of our clients.
yeah, you're
So-
welcome. I crashed the economy. I was a drunk college kid. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So 2008 I started and
Yep.
did Chase, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. At the height, I had over 400 homes in my portfolio, so it was just crazy stories every day.
Oh
So
my
then I was
God.
like thinking, okay, we have stories.
The
from
things that we saw
and
back then were nuts.
nuts. It was
Nuts.
every day, like
Yeah.
things like. I mean, I've got tons of stories, and it was like hard to even just choose one. And
Yeah.
then, and then I was thinking, then from there, I got into real estate investing, and then you just come
Okay.
into all kinds of crazy stories there because I've just always been around distress. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like,
yes.
either like foreclosures or
Well, because you're investing and then you're
disrepair.
flipping them essentially, right?
Right,
Are you a
so-
flipper or are you a developer? Like, what do you?
We do both. So
Both,
we
okay.
do fix and flip. We do
Okay.
some development.
So
We've
you
got
really are seeing basically, or you're taking houses that are just older and distressing them and then making them something new. So
Yeah, we've been in apartment communities
Mm-hmm.
with all kinds of weird stuff going on. We've been in, all kinds of stuff. So
It just reminded me of some of the lockout situations.
Oh yeah, but see, the thing is, all my portfolio some of it was in San Diego, but most of it was in Florida.
Oh wow.
So we really relied on agents to
Oh,
do
yeah.
broker price opinions, report
100%.
back. We even did renovations.
You were
remotely.
here though,
Yeah,
right? And you were
yeah.
managing a portfolio in Florida.
Yeah, and I mean, one time, so like they would do the broker price opinions, right? And so they would
Mm-hmm.
have to send all the photos of what the houses look like. And a lot of times people get really upset. Well, most of the time people would be leaving it upset. They trash the place.
At that time, because again, for youngins out there who aren't listening, I mean, we obviously, the market completely crashed.
Mm-hmm.
We were in, ruins in terms of like the real estate world. And I remember looking at appraisals because I did underwriting and then appraisals at the time. And I would see photos where people were like drawing dicks on the wall with
Oh, a lot
spray
of dicks.
paint,
So many dicks.
human feces, setting stuff on fire. Like I will never forget this one. Literally half the house was torched.
Yeah.
And like the rest of it was just like graffitied. There was feces everywhere. Like the agent was like, I've never in my life seen something like this, because they basically went into foreclosure, lost their house, and they're like, well, they went down swinging. Like they
Well, yeah,
weren't-
we had one. It was like all the girls would like take in the admins would take in the BPOs and kind of
Yes.
edit them and clean them up for them or like format them how the client wanted. And one of them, they called me over and they're like, you have to see this. And it was like, dude, every room, poop just everywhere.
Smeared.
It was like on the ceiling, in
Yeah.
the bathtub, on the light switch, on the.
Yeah.
I was
Is
like,
that how hepatitis started?
that it started
Probably.
in Florida. Yeah.
it started in
We
Florida.
had a lot of Chinese drywall and poop.
Well, and I grew up in Arizona. So Arizona was also really hard hit with the subprime
Yeah.
crisis and all that stuff,
For
right?
sure.
So like we were seeing that, but we were also managing stuff in Florida, Nevada. Like California wasn't as hard of hit with that kind of stuff, but it was nuts. It was
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, the California stuff was a little less crazy. I mean, a lot of the Inland Empire, Riverside would get some
That
stories.
would get some stuff for sure, but it
down in
wasn't.
San Diego wasn't too bad. I
No,
remember the stuff
no,
I had.
No, coastal in San Diego, it'll never get hit the way some of the inland and middle America will. They don't get squeezed as much when you're
Not
on the
as
coast.
much. Yeah.
That's crazy. So anyway,
So, yeah, I mean, we have those kind of stories. We had, and then after that, we did a lot of fix and flips. So then we were
Mm-hmm.
walking into houses that, occupants, tons of squatter situations. We
Mm-hmm.
had one. And the funny thing that we were talking about Kevin, one of my business partners, Kevin, and I, we were walking a house in Marine Street in La Jolla.
oh my God, yeah.
An amazing piece of property.
Yeah.
2 houses. We get to the front one, and I mean, there's probably 10 tweakers in this thing. And they're yelling at us, and they're like doing tinkering on who knows what. And then like,
Did you have, so when you got there, was it like, did you like cut like locks off and like have,
No,
or did you have
no,
keys?
because one of the tweakers was the owner. It was one of those situations, and I was talking about this. Like a lot of times, you get, somebody who inherits the house and then moves in. They're
Yes,
friends, and then they start
yes.
leaching off. And I've
Yep.
seen that so many times. And
especially
a lot of times
in
it's sad when
in
there's
a
like
drug
an old,
situation. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have like a
Yeah.
little old lady who lives there, and her son's there with all her friends, and she's like
Yep.
baking them cookies, and they're like
Yep.
cleaning her dry. So
Ramon Maldonado had a story like that.
They rent out every piece of the property they can.
Yeah. Well, speaking of every piece of the property, we're walking from the front house to the back house, and it was just traumatic. People were yelling and doing all kinds of stuff. They were mad, and it's like, dude, aren't you the seller? And then all of a sudden, this guy just pops his head out of the roof. Like out of the like he's living in the attic, and then he starts screaming at us.
He just he monkey hangs down, like all of a sudden his head comes out, and you're like,
yeah, but we're outside, so it was like the side vent or like dormer or something.
Yeah, it just like pops open, and he's like, "Hey!" You're like, "Oh my god!" Like there's literally people in like every crevice of this house.
Well, I'm pretty sure he had an ocean view from up there too.
I mean, shit. How much was he paying in rent? Do we think?
Had to be at least like $300.
You think it was dollars?
Maybe he was just paying in drugs.
Definitely drugs.
He's like, "Here's a crack pipe. Am I good for a month?" They're like, "Yeah, you're good."
So we get to the back house, and it's a single.
And is this on Marine Street?
Yes.
Holy shit!
And then we get to the back house, and there's a single lady, very clean apartment, and she comes out, and I was like, "This is the one we have to worry about." I knew it. I pulled Kevin aside. I said, because we had to vacate the property,
right?
And
sometimes
somebody was like, "Yeah,
ladies.
she wasn't a little lady. She was a younger nurse." And I was like, first of all, why is she living behind this?
No kidding.
Second of all, the agent's telling us, it's somebody you know, by the way, we talked.
Oh my god, do I know them?
Yeah.
And
tell me offline.
The agent was great in this situation, but it was just somebody we know. And then, but he's telling us, "Oh yeah, she'll leave. We've already kind of like come up with an agreement." And she overhears it, and she's like, "You can offer me $50,000 and I ain't never leaving." And I was like, "Kevin, I told you, she's going to be the one."
Was she
Sure
renting
enough,
or was she an owner?
She was renting. I don't know what the situation was, if she still had a lease or what, but we didn't actually end up closing on it. It was somebody bringing it to us, and they ended up closing on it.
Okay.
They wanted to ditch the deal, and then they ended up just closing on it because we just couldn't get our head wrapped around it.
Right.
We knew it was a smoking deal.
Especially for Marine Street, to get all those people out. And
But
then
a huge headache.
They got the people in the front instantly, and I knew it.
Well,
and
I mean,
I don't even know the lady in the back ever had left. Like
she's still there today.
She was there for a long time, like years.
She's probably still there.
Yeah.
She's going down with the ship.
Oh my god.
But see, that's the thing with taking things occupied.
That's funny that you knew, like, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a risk today.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the COVID moratorium and everything. I mean, it took me, oh my god, CRMR. I was like, I'm having.
Oh right.
So that a year and a half it took me to get those tenants out, and these were high-paying, $10,500 a month tenants who were just working the system and trying to work over my seller. It was disgusting. I live right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's off Hillside, and I live down in the Shores, and I literally was like going at like 2:00, and I'd like call and I'd be like, "I'm here now. They're home. I was like staking out the house for the server to come and like, because they just would evade him at every chance that they got. Like, it was insane.
That's horrible.
Yeah, we had one where we got the tenant moved out, and I show up with the contractor to start work, and a lady answers the door, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so-and-so's sister. Yeah, she had to move back home to help." Like, she knew the whole story about this lady who lived there before. And I'm like, this is kind of convincing. She's like, she said the person's name. She said, "Oh yeah, she moved back." She said the city she moved back to live with her parents.
So were you guys just fixing it up and then going to sell it or did you own it?
I owned it. We were going to go in and renovate it. Yeah.
Okay, so you bought it from that lady that she was talking about, basically, but then
the lady who lived there was one of the tenants. She moved out, and then all of a sudden a new lady would answer the door because we were like, "Why isn't the door opening?"
Oh boy.
And she she went in full character, and she was like, it was one of those where she went through all the mail. We found out later she had all the mail in there and opened it, so that's how she knew the lady's name. She was posing as her sister or a cousin or something.
I mean, kind of
and she was like,
pretty genius.
"I'm gonna sue you for accusing me of this, blah blah blah." I was like, well, finally we just kind of waited, and she was like, we just kind of like waited her out, and finally she went down the street. She said, "I'm going to Kinko's," because I could tell she was gonna start like doing the whole utility thing. It was like we caught her on the day of.
Oof.
And then we just busted the window, came in and locked her out. But just started demo right then.
Did she have like a bunch of stuff in there, or was she like squatting?
She had like a little bit of stuff.
But it wasn't like, No,
it wasn't furniture or anything. It was obvious she was squatting.
Oh my God. That's wild. These homeless like squatter drug dealers, I mean, they're
I come into contact
stupid.
all the time with them. Most of the time they're pretty friendly, but
I can't even imagine. Like, that would scare the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
Were you part of Matt's stakeout when he was staking out the communal listing?
Oh, I got
no, but I heard that story because I listened to your episode this week, and I heard about the guy on the scooter.
Our guy Carlos.
Have you seen him?
Somebody said they saw him. I haven't seen him personally, and it's been pretty pleasant not seeing him.
I mean, you don't miss him?
You
You don't want to see what other scooter he is I still don't know how he did that. I still don't know how he rigged.
Pretty incredible.
It's very incredible.
What I forget, the one part of the story I always forget is how heavy that damn bike was. I pretty much threw out my back.
So funny. You were like, I just went to go lift
I
it.
just picked it up because I'm like, oh, it's just a little bike, whatever. I was like, oh boy.
Oh my God. I just threw out my whole back. My
Just
bad.
launched it in the back of Pat's
That's
car.
insane. Were you going to say that you had another one recently of squatters or no?
Well, yeah, no, not. It's probably been a year or just under a year.
Okay.
But one of my dad's properties, actually, this tenant moves in and he's like the head of real estate at Goodwill Industries, and decides to like take my dad for a ride and just not pay him rent, not let people in, not do whatever. Just it turned into this huge nightmare.
Stop. And this was one of the rental properties that your dad owned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Up in like a Lebanon. Right.
Okay.
And whatever. This whole thing goes down, and this guy's just an absolute nightmare. And he's like, so nice to talk to. Like, oh yeah, no, we'll get it over to you, no problem.
The Anna Delvey, the wire's coming. Like
that's what. Yeah, a little bit. And so things led to things. He ended up owing a bunch. He would never put the water bill in his name. Just turned into this giant nightmare. My dad is just like beside himself. Couldn't stand it. He was like,
And again, it's not easy to get those people out. Like, what are you
they have a
supposed to
lot of
do?
rights.
You don't. Yeah, they have so many rights here in California.
The head of Goodwill Real Estate, the head of Goodwill Industries Real Estate, is doing this to my dad, who's a soccer.
And he was legit. Like, what does that mean? Did he like buy?
I have no idea what his title actually meant, but I feel like he ended up. I don't know if he had like a drinking problem, a gambling problem, like something.
There was something going on there.
Something was weird.
Yeah.
And whatever. We ended up having to go through the whole process, get all of his stuff out of there. We had like storage.
How long did it take?
Oh gosh, I'd have to look back, but it was probably 4 or 5 months at least. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then we ended up having to do the sheriff's lockout. And then they said, well, if you leave and he comes back in on his own, then it's not technically valid, or there was some reason why we had to be there when he got there. And they're like, so I ended up staking out.
Here we go again.
I went up with a couple of baseball bats and hung out with my dad on the couch up there for a couple hours.
And in case he came back.
In case he came back, and I was like, ooh. So we waited for him, and sure enough, eventually he came up, and I'm like, we're at the upstairs looking down. We're like, start calling the cops, start doing the whole thing. Sheriff, they all come through, and he's like trying to hop over the fence, trying to get in, do this.
So he was like, you guys were inside, but he didn't know you were inside. So he was trying to break in any way he could, but you're waiting for the cops to come, basically.
Yeah. So
oh my God, that's like so exhilarating.
It was, yeah.
Why didn't you call me? I would have totally been there.
So all his stuff was still in there.
All of his stuff,
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, we ended up having, it was really
Just like sitting on his couch eating his snacks.
Yeah. What kind of snacks did he have?
I did use his phone charger, I will say.
Oh.
I did. And
Thanks,
I
Joe.
don't feel bad about it.
No, I wouldn't either. No.
Snacks though, I was like, this guy's weird. I don't want to eat what he's eating.
Mm-hmm. Could be stale too, or like who knows what it's laced with. Yeah.
But it was just a really. It was nice to spend time with my dad there, but
Yes.
it was not what I would wish upon anyone, and I feel like the rules need a change in, because
They do.
you shouldn't be able to hold somebody's property hostage.
No. And you can.
Yeah.
I
it's
mean,
very frustrating.
we've even had, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. We've had properties where somebody fraudulently put a lien on our waterfront listing, like 26 million. Wow. And they put that was how much the price was. And it was, I think, down on Chelsea. It was our one of our, like, I think it was either our Sea Ridge or our Chelsea property. Yeah.
The
Big ones. Our Blue Heron property. Our Blue Heron properties. And they literally like put a lien on the property, and the owner basically had to settle with them because attorney's fees and fighting the lien would have cost more than just paying this guy 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand. And apparently there's people out there that like do this. Like, this is all that they do.
It's like
It's just like put like a mechanics lien or something on the property. Yeah.
the old slip and fall expert.
I
Nope,
mean,
I fell again.
I guess like it's wild. So anyway,
I mean,
wow.
there's a career for you. Put that on the LinkedIn profile.
I mean, shit, if you're going to make like 30 grand a week, then. Behind the Lockbox is sponsored by Property Showcase Group. Property Showcase Group has a team of creatives, directors, producers, editors, marketing specialists, and designers that work in tandem to tell and share stories of the built environment. Whether you're looking for full-service production or simply just need content creation, Property Showcase Group can help take your business to the next level. To learn more or to contact Property Showcase Group to schedule a consultation, you can find them at propertyshowcasegroup.com. That's spelled PROPERTYSHOWCASEGROUP.com. PropertyShowcaseGroup.com. I'm back to talk about our sponsor and producer, Property Showcase Group. This is for all my agent and affiliate friends out there. Property Showcase Group has a special offer for you. The first 3 agents to email Property Showcase Group at teampsg@propertyshowcasegroup.com will get 1 month free of social media management using code LOCKBOX. That's right, 1 month free. And they're offering 20% off your first video production using code LOCKBOX. For more information, contact Property Showcase Group at teampsg@propertyshowcasegroup.com, and don't forget to use code LOCKBOX or mention this podcast. No, just kidding. Maybe not.
Yeah, they just have to live with being a terrible human.
Yeah, being a
Terrible
person.
human. It's insane. The whole trying to get the tenants thing out is it's a problem for sure.
It's a big problem.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
like-
I mean, I have a lot of clients who lately have had multiple properties or they were landlords for a year and then they're like, hey, Steph, we want to sell. We're done.
Well, think about it.
Because it's too much liability.
Like us, we have multiple properties, so we have a little bit more like hedged risk, I guess you can say. But if somebody is their only rental property and it takes 4, if you're lucky, 4 months to get somebody out, and that's 4 months of no payments, then attorney's fees, everything else.
Get this.
And the damage.
The property manager, so the house on Lair that I just closed this week on the Claremont listing, right?
Oh, right.
So there was a wonderful tenant in the property. He was fantastic. The property manager, don't even get me started. I've never in my life, what is the, if I have 2 good property managers that I refer to all the time. Everybody, I have never found any other, like, it's a little bit egregious anyway.
We've been through quite a bit.
Go off on a tangent. It's insane. To try to find a good one. These guys were not. It was actually. I'm going to tell you who it is later to see what your thoughts are because I was very pissed
Marcel
off.
probably has been through them.
I probably used them. Yeah. I think we've had like 7 or 8.
It's not been good. But what they said to me, which there was like a new law or something that passed that basically once we gave a 60-day notice, the tenant then did not have to pay rent for 60 days. They literally, this just happened.
Well, because it was no fault. Like it wasn't their fault. Right?
Yeah. The lease was up. They were month to month and we were like, hey, we're going to sell the property. You have 60 days to vacate. And the property manager was like, well, just so you know, they're not paying rent for those 60 days. Like once we give them the 60-day notice, basically something about, and I need to look this up or if any property managers are listening, please let us know.
It's actually 3 months if they're 3 months if they're elderly or disabled.
And then what? So do they basically
which I identify as both?
Yeah. We had a tenant. She just said, you know what? I had to basically guide her how to get more money out of me. She was like, but she was like, I'm bipolar. And I was like, okay. She put it in writing and then I was like, okay, well just get me a doctor's note. And then she sent it. I was like, well, you got to get it like this. And I was just like guiding her. And I was like,
no, Marcel,
this is insane.
This is insane.
but she was happy. I mean, she left and that's all.
And this guy was great. He basically used that 2 months rent for a deposit like on the next place, which I think is kind of where they were going with that whole new rule, which I understand. But even that puts my seller like now they're paying the mortgage.
I was at the meeting, the council meeting when they
where
were voting
passed.
on that, and the amount of people who spoke out against it was insane, and they were like, "Never mind, we're still passing it." They didn't care.
I mean,
don't even get me started on San Diego City Council.
Don't even worry about the seller's expenses, right? Those don't matter.
No,
and
it's
then
wild.
you have all these mom and pops up there. One person was in tears, like, "I can barely afford my property. I'm going to lose my property."
Which is so not the point. The point of owning property is to build wealth, right? Like we know obviously single family one is not going to build you. I mean, look, if they bought it in the 40s and they've held it this long, well then yeah, right? But like
or foreclosures.
Yeah, exactly. But like now for our generation, we really need to be buying like apartments or units or whatever if we're really going to make the money there, right? It's not just one single family home, but there are people out there who have worked so hard and they've been able to actually keep that first house, buy a second house, and then now they're getting squeezed because they have a horrible tenant because the tenant masquerades themselves as this perfect tenant and then they're not paying their rent and you're staking out the property to kick them out.
It's pretty infuriating and I don't know what It has to change. Or I know it has to change. I just don't know how it will happen.
I know.
You can
I
say
know.
it.
What, t-shirt contest?
Yeah.
That's what will get everyone to change.
We're gonna go to
Marcel's
city council with that.
Marcel's gonna walk in with one. He's like, "Hey guys, I got an idea."
Never see
That's just our solve for everything. It's like wet t-shirt contest.
Your wife is like, "No, no, no, no,
It's like
no more."
gasoline fight.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have the car for it.
Yeah,
We can
that's
have a
true.
freak accident.
Yeah.
He's got his convertible old Bronco.
Yes,
That would be-
yes, I know. Okay, do you have one more story, or should we play a game?
I have stories. We can play a game. Whatever you think's best.
Give me. Wait. You have a story, Matthew.
I forgot about this one.
And by the way, your mom just DM'd me and was like, because I posted on Instagram that like, raise your hand if you're the kid who always talks too much in class on your report card.
That's not true.
Isn't this?
That's very true.
Isn't
Yeah, I
this
got that
just full
too.
circle for me because I also got it? And she was like, "That's Matt," and I was like, "Well, Matt's coming on the podcast this week." And then in our lovely group chat, which by the way, I hope that never goes away. Like, please, let's keep. I'm liking what we're having in this group chat. You said, should I tell the story about how I went up against my mom and lost the listing? I'm gonna need to hear about this because this is epic.
First of all, you just ruined the plot line.
The
Sorry.
punchline. Yeah.
The punchline.
Spoiler alert.
And then it ended in a wet t-shirt contest.
Tell us the story. How did this all happen?
So so Steve built a few properties down on San Fernando in Mission Beach. There's like 4 or 5 of them all in a row. And one of them came for sale. And I had a client who I'd been working with for quite a while, and I sold him that house. And then randomly, like, months and months or years down the line, he goes, "Hey, I got a lead for you. I met this guy, and my client, this is the second home for him in Mission Beach. So he lives up in like Marin or somewhere in Northern California.
Okay.
And he's like, "I got a lead for you."
It looked great.
I'm like, I look it up. It's a nice place down in Point Loma. I start talking to the family, whatever. So I go down there with Steve. We meet with them and talk about what to do, give them all the options. Tell them that we charge 12%. All the
Only when Marcel's the seller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a deal.
Yeah. It's a total steal.
Yeah.
guys, don't tell them.
Sorry.
But yeah, so we did the whole song and dance, and I think they interviewed quite a few agents because parents had passed, whatever.
Sure.
Or they at least interviewed, I think, 3. And we start talking. They're like, "Oh, I've got twins," and yada yada yada, and this, that, and the other. And later on, we get to talking a little bit, and they're like, "Yeah, we actually went a different route, and I think you might know the agent." And I was like,
Yeah, maybe.
And it's like, you guys don't have the same last name. So you're like, well, I know a lot of agents. You're expecting it to be like,
"Oh yeah, I know a lot of them."
a big Point Loma agent or like, whatever, right?
They're like, "Yeah, we started putting it together when she started talking about her grandkids that were twins." And I was like,
My mom? You hired my mom? No way.
yeah, it was pretty funny.
Did she know and just didn't tell you?
I mean, maybe. And nah, I don't think so.
In my mind, she knew and didn't tell you.
She
was
definitely
yeah,
threw you
Matt.
under the bus at that listing appointment.
She was like, "He got in so much trouble
For
in middle
sure.
school. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, you don't hire him."
He is
pulling
not
out embarrassing
responsible.
baby pictures.
He might bring his father-in-law with him, but let me tell you something. This guy, he is nothing but trouble.
That is true. And to your point about the school thing, I think in middle school, I just would talk to the kid next to me.
I can
who
see it.
literally called me when we were in the waiting room. One of my best friends to this day. He was a best man at my wedding.
I love
One
it.
of my closest friends. And it was pretty, we just, I don't know.
You're like, remember when we used to get in trouble for talking all the time? I'm about to do another podcast, so I'll call you later.
Yeah. Just
So funny.
run him a damn mouth.
Yeah, same. I mean, I was there to socialize. I don't know why else would I be there?
I mean, I got the homework done mostly.
Yeah.
Questionable for me.
My name was they used to write our name on the board
Mm-hmm.
when you were talking, and then it always had a check mark on it by the end of the day too. So that was a double whammy.
I think my mom actually
red
made me go to
X.
therapy because she thought there was like something wrong with me.
Because
but
you were
then-
talking constantly.
Well, I think she thought I was just getting in trouble.
You're like,
Like-
no, mom, I'm just chatty. Like, I just have things to say. Sales was the perfect thing for you because then you can just talk to clients and here you go. Which it's so funny knowing you as well as I know you. You're obviously very chatty with like everyone in your inner circle, but like I don't think I would have pegged you as chatty as me or getting in trouble. Right? Don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, now that I know him, of course.
Chatty Matty.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that nickname. If I had known the nickname,
That's not a nickname. I just
Oh.
I was like,
Okay.
I was
It
like,
is
where
now.
it Kathy?
It is now.
Chatty Matty.
I can't. Caitlin's
like
gonna
that.
love that. I like it too. Chatty Matty.
Damn, I just sold myself.
You really did. That's the name of this episode.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Catty Daddy. I follow a comedian who's got this character. He's like the Catty Daddy, and he's
Wait,
just
what
like
comedian is that?
talking crap on all his daughter's friends. And
Love that.
I
so
just saw
much.
him last week at Kyle Dunnigan. He's like
Oh, I need to follow him.
he's pretty decent.
I love a
size, yeah.
comedian. Like it's the best thing in the world. Okay, time check. Okay, should we play a game?
Yeah,
Because
play a game.
this might incite some stories for you. I forgot my note card.
As long as it doesn't incite a riot, we're good.
I mean, who knows with Marcel, right? Okay,
Yeah.
let me see what question. So we play a little game called Punch List, which we hit you with 3 questions. Matt knows
Okay.
this. Okay.
And it can be edited if I take too long to answer.
I mean, yeah, but don't do that.
Okay.
Okay. Then you make more work for me. You know what I mean?
And we
Okay.
can edit all the bloopers out too, right?
No.
Random.
The first part of this episode before we started is going to be a reel, just so you know. Okay, I have a question. This will have us get to know you. If you could be anything other than a real estate agent, investor, developer, what would you be and why?
You know, I actually watched a couple episodes and you asked this question, and I was like, oh, I should think about that. And then I
And then
got
that's the one you
distracted.
didn't think about.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been doing this for so long. Is there anything else like?
Probably just like Steven's father-in-law, probably. I think.
I don't know, probably like
You're
a
already paying for
crypto
that
bro
wedding,
or
so-
something. Just
A
like
crypto bro?
buy the dip, you know.
Marcel!
Have a couple G wagons.
Say something cool like to the moon.
Yeah, to the moon all the time. Just like the
What
U.S.
does that
currency is gonna be
mean?
nothing. You know, it's all crypto.
If
I
you
don't-
don't know.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. Like, I listened to Luke Middleton's. He had architect. I used to want to be
He
an
did.
architect. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Really like design. Maybe something in the
I
design.
mean, you're doing
field.
all of that like now,
Yeah,
right?
I guess I'm
so
doing
like if you
touching
weren't
on those things a little bit.
Yeah, if
so
you weren't like actually selling real estate and like flipping it and stuff, you
could
could
be
do
anything.
anything.
I'd be Elon
What if,
Musk.
I was gonna say, what if money didn't matter?
Yeah.
Would you be car Elon Musk or space Elon Musk or both?
Space.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, astronaut.
Astronaut.
What would you be?
I said a country music singer, but I can't
Okay.
sing. I just think it would be fun.
That would be fun.
Wouldn't it be so fun?
Yeah, I always thought you were like, oh, then basketball player or singer. Be fun.
For you? Basketball player?
Yeah, I mean, I suck at basketball.
Woo!
But I'm saying it.
Shots
We're saying
fired.
anything.
I thought you were pointing at me.
You?
I constantly get accused of being what? They're like, if I had your height, I would have been in the NBA. But I'm like, well, I guess you weren't.
Oh my god! And every week at Reba, somebody always says something about Matt's height. I'm like, this is like the
Oh.
running joke. Like,
Is Matt
he's-
tall?
I didn't notice. I didn't know that he was 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
He like stood up. So I was sitting behind. Normally I sit in front of him to his right, but I was sitting to his left last week. And he stands up and he turns around and he's like, sorry, I'm going to block you. And then what did Pat say? Or he was like,
No,
the tallest guy in the room, he's going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I was like,
Oh,
every
God.
week.
It was pretty funny. But actually, Daniel Albrecht today was sitting to my left as he kind of
Yes,
normally
he
does.
normally
And
does, yeah.
We're doing the Pledge of Allegiance at Reba, and he goes, I pledge of allegiance to Matt's back. 'Cause I couldn't see anything.
Well, luckily for us, they put it like there's like 2 TV screens so we can see the flag projected. There's like a clip art flag, right? And then we have a real one that's like behind, but Matt was completely blocking the real one for me. So it's kind of fun that we say the Pledge of Allegiance, by the way. Isn't that cute? Let's see. Oh my God, there's so many questions I could ask you here. I feel like we've kind of touched on this, but I implore you to think about this a little further.
Okay.
What is the weirdest thing or situation you've ever walked in on, or like the most disgusting thing you've ever found?
Oh, man.
We had a dildo a couple weeks ago.
We definitely have had a lot of dildos.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually right.
Rats. Stepped on rats. Kevin and I once walked into a house and it was so nasty. I mean, it was trashed. This lady used to own like a fried, like well known in the community, like this like famous like fried chicken southern cooking place, and there was just grease. I guess she was cooking in the house because there was just grease everywhere. She had passed away, and we
Dedication
both
to the
walked in. It was
craft.
so gross. I mean, we both had fleas by the time we left there, but
No,
it was like I was saying, it was like a Scooby-Doo episode. All of a sudden, this giant thing ran by, and we both grabbed onto each other,
Stop!
like, woo, 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 and like ran out the door. We had like the stick, and
You had
The only
fleas
thing
on
missing-
you when you left,
Oh, I mean,
and
we've
she
gotten fleas
lived.
so many
she
times.
lived in.
I think no, she passed away, and then like
It just,
something
like,
happened.
things
and
went
it
to-
was
it was
because it was a
decrepit.
short sell, so I don't know what
Well,
happened.
Did you-
funny, Kevin, his partner, Kevin, well, business partner, sorry, partner sounds pretty bad.
Okay, I'm gonna have done that. I'm like, oh, my girlfriend's on her way, and they're like, I'm like, we're not lesbians, I swear, but it's cool if we are. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
you have
not,
to,
but
you have to
like,
disclose that now.
you really do. It's okay.
Kevin wore a lot of like jogger type pants. And so when he'd go to all these properties with fleas, he'd always come back. He'd be like, I got to stop wearing.
Because they just like stick right to like,
it
so
always
like
seems
the
to be
knit,
only when I wear
basically.
shorts. It always because it was hot. It's always hot, right? And so then you end up wearing
Ugh.
shorts. and-
Kevin actually called me directly after that Marine Street deal. I think I was calling him about something separate, and he called me afterwards. He was like terrified. I think
Yeah.
he was like, he's like, I gotta get out of here before I get
We've
shot.
been in the worst neighborhoods, and that was definitely like the worst like tenant situation.
And on Marine Street in La Jolla. Like, that's insane. That's insane.
Less-
Multi-million
Did you
dollars.
hear, did you listen to Luke's whole episode?
Yeah.
Like the cockroaches, like he was like, he
Yeah.
put his hand on the wall and there was
I've
like
had that
kids sleeping
situation,
there. Like
too.
very upsetting. Very upsetting. Did you
where
hear
I'm
that
sitting
episode?
there meeting with a seller for an hour as the cockroaches are crawling over my
Stop!
shoes, and I'm just like smiling. I was like, I really need this deal right now.
Oh, it's
I was, like early in my career.
like Fear Factor.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, good for you.
Shut up. Or Survivor. Like, no.
Maybe you should edit that response. You could have been a contestant on Fear Factor.
That would have been great.
Do you really want to be a contestant on Fear Factor? Is that
Could have
show
been
still around?
friends with young Joe Rogan.
Well, this is true. Oh my God, you're right. I forgot that he hosted that.
That's
Huh.
how his career launched.
I mean, I forgot.
It's
these
exactly
things, you
where
know?
I thought I'd see him today, running one of the biggest podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
We should try to get on his podcast.
I think we're on our way.
Okay, I love you. I know you came in here and you compared me to Call Her Daddy, and I was just like very impressed by you. Thank you so much. One day. Okay. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve.
This can be in life or in business.
Ooh.
Quality of construction and like punch list items, probably.
Probably just, yeah, I guess that kind of plays into it, but just people just, it's what I deal with every day. It's just people
Mhm.
not doing what they said they're going to do.
Ugh.
It's just obnoxious. I
It's the
mean,
worst.
Just say you're not going to do it. Or say you're going to,
Or
don't say you're
just
going to be here
don't say
mañana, be
anything.
here 2 mañanas from now, you know?
2 mananas from now. Oh my God. That's how I'm going to be telling you, Matt. When I see him, I'm going to be like, I'll see you manana. Not 2 mananas. 2 mananas from now. Not manana 1, manana 2. Oh my God, Marcel. Oh, you crack me up. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
On
Had a
that
great time,
note,
Stephanie.
maybe
Yeah.
this will come out 2 mananas from now.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick.
No, it won't.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
2 mananas like 2 months. Just kidding.
Okay.
It'll be next month. It'll be next month. Oh, we also need to talk about who this agent was with the listing on Marine Street. Anyway, okay, we have
Oh,
to
yeah.
go. Boo! And it was that person? Okay,
Yeah,
great. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you. I've had
Thanks
a
for
great
coming
time.
back, Matt.
It flew by. I mean, how long was that?
I mean,
Like
I
10
tell
minutes?
you, I know. It felt like 10 minutes. I told you it would go by quick. I
Oh, yeah.
told you it would. I know. It's very quick. Anyway,
Time flies when
you're going to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you guys
I'll
can
host.
go. Perfect. I'll just leave.
I want to take your spot. Like, that's going to be my next goal.
You're going to take my spot?
Yeah.
Okay. Once I move up to Call Her Daddy status,
Yeah.
then you can take my spot, and then we'll just like Matt will still be here co-hosting with you.
Just
There we
Marcel goes home, writes it on his whiteboard.
Yeah, it's on my vision
Take
board.
Stephanie's spot. That's all my vision board.
It's a picture of you with a
2025.
microphone.
If you could
An
be
X
anything
through
when
it.
you grow up, Marcel, what would it
Your
be?
face is over my face.
I could just start my own podcast, but no, I want to take hers.
I'm gonna take hers. Give me all your stuff right now. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go over there anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a unhinged time, and I knew it would be.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Please
anyway.
don't cancel us.
Or just cancel Matt. Either one. You know what I mean. Anyway, thanks, guys. I appreciate you. All right, guys. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Behind the Lockbox. Please leave us a kind review, because if you don't, I told you I would delete it. Just kidding. But I probably would. And please follow and download the show. We need your downloads. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Bye. Thanks for listening. Behind the Lockbox is produced and edited by Property Showcase Group. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Thanks for your support. See you next week.